Ooby-doo, it's everyone's favorite boomer and vintage lens enthusiast. But where's the vintage lens? This old piece of crap Sigma doesn't count. That's just a backdrop. But what I have here is banana. And I have a Geiger counter. And the Geiger counter says that this banana has got clicks per minute, 19 clicks per minute. That's like background radiation. Bananas are supposedly radioactive. People say, oh, if you eat bananas, you'll get more radiation than XYZ. But, you know, bananas are don't have much radiation. So let's put this banana over here. I'll put this Geiger counter over here. And what we have here Canon lens FD 17mm f4 SSC. It's in good shape except for some scratches on the enamel. This is actually an old school all metal lens, which is pretty cool. Stuff's on the f22. It focuses down to 0.025 meters. I got it on the Z50, and I'm using a Velo FD to NZ adapter. It's a dumb adapter, but this is a dumb lens anyway. When I bought this adapter, I didn't know it, but two of the screws were loose, and it was a little wobbly, and I was getting, I had to tighten it up. But let's take this off for a minute, because this is what I have my Geiger counter here for. Let's see how long it takes before this thing goes ballistic. What it is, this is a radioactive lens. One of the elements is radioactive. It's up to 79 counts. Specifically, it's this element, the rear element. Oh, there we go. I found the hot spot. Look at that bad boy climb. When it beeps like that, that means danger. 253 counts per minute. It's already over 10 times as much as this banana was. People say, you get more radiation from eating a banana than XYZ. Let's see how high it could go. 402. Let's see, get 500. Well, you get this gist of it. I'm going to shut this off. It's going to go over 600. There it goes. So this is a radioactive lens. Supposedly this element treats the glass so it has a higher index of refraction, but it has low dispersion. When you buy these old lenses and they're radioactive, the radioactivity makes the glass turn yellow. I don't know if you can see the yellow tint there, but I treated this with ultraviolet light for like 2 weeks and it cleared up admirably. So let's put this bad boy back on, huh? Okay. So this is a Nikon Z50. It's a nice camera. It's small, it's lightweight, it has a lot of features. But I also have another lens. I have the Tokina, the RMC Tokina 17mm f3.5, and I went to a car show called Bones, Bumpers, and Bagels. It was in Morristown. This is some medical center. It was their first inaugural auto show, and it was really nice. They had a lot of cars there. It was a beautiful sunny day. I took a lot of pictures with this and the other lens. I had the other lens on a Sony camera, and I'm going to do a separate video on that. So you can watch this video and then that one. And a lot of pictures are similar, but they're not exactly the same. What can I say about this lens? It's super sharp. Even though at the time I went and the mount was loose, I'll show you the part that was loose. Oops. These screws here were loose and it was a little bit wobbly. And even with that, it was super sharp. Super sharp. I could not believe it. Bright, vibrant colors, super sharp. I was shooting at f11 all day, and I got this excellent results. This lens is a little heavy. It's old school metal, definitely. And these are pricey lenses. I wouldn't say this is a beat copy. I would say it's very good. Optically, it's perfect, but the barrel is a little scuffed up. But I traded in some gear for this, and I'm very happy I did it. I had a couple lenses I wasn't using, lenses that were dogs. I'm not going to mention what those dog lenses are, but and an old Pentax DSLR I traded in, and I got this for like $200. And you know, if you go and use camera gear sites, these things, even in crappy condition, could go for $300-400, and in excellent condition, even more. If you shop around, I'm sure you could get a better bargain somewhere else. But it's a fine lens. I highly recommend it. It's great for architecture. It's great for car shows, crowds, all sorts of good things you could use this lens for. It has excellent tonality range, freedom of aberrations. It's very sharp. And I'll tell you what, a lot of wide-angle lenses are soft, or they may be good at close-up, and then the further away your objects are, they just get soft-looking. But this was sharp. And another thing is, even stop down to like f11, when I'm focusing in, I have pressed the zoom button so I could do the manual focus. You could see it snap into focus. Like a lot of lenses are mushy. You can focus it and go like this, and it's hard to tell exactly where the focus is. So you may end up on one side of the depth of field or the other, and then you don't have a wide range of focus that you thought you had. But this thing snapped right into focus on your subject, and then you know the depth of field was even in back of it and far of it, in front of it. So this is a really good lens. I highly recommend you go get one. Definitely, even though it's radioactive. And, well, that's one thing. I have it on my camera now because this is camera one. I shot the following pictures we're going to look at. But I definitely do not leave this on my camera because you've seen this thing. Let's turn it on again. Okay. Your sensor's probably up there somewhere. Is it working? Yeah. Well, it's far enough away that the radiation doesn't go through the air even much. But then you have the sensor and the rest of the camera guts are blocking it. So if you hold it up to your face, you know you're not going to get zapped too much from it. Really. So let's just do another test, huh? Shall we? Now we know this thing is very radioactive. That's just air. So even this far away, that's pretty, it's already over background. And it's trending up. 40, 43. You see, right here is dangerous. See, right there, that's where all the particles are being emitted. Look at it, went crazy already. So for this purposes, or when I go shooting, I'm going to photo shoot, yeah, I leave it on the camera. But I don't leave it on if I'm not going to use the camera for a couple of days or whatever. I don't leave it on because it'll bleach your sensor, or maybe it'll give you a dead pixel or something like that. So I never leave the radioactive lens on the camera except when I'm at a photo shoot. But aside from that, if you're scared of radiation, don't get it. It takes a while for this thing to calm down because the tube gets saturated. So that's not the banana. That's just the leftover radiation from being saturated with too many clicks. So it's dropping already. But suffice it to say, we know bananas are not radioactive. So let's drop this. So there you have it. Nice lens, excellent performer. I highly recommend it, except that it's radioactive. But since I'm a boomer, what does it matter? Maybe I'll turn into a radioactive boomer and I'll live forever, or maybe I'll die prematurely. I don't know. If you're a young person, maybe you wouldn't want to add this to your collection because you would get a lifetime of radiation dosage with it. So let's jump right into some pictures, shall we? This is a really cool car show I went to. It was in Morristown, and it was delayed by rain. And you have a 66% chance of having your car show rained out and be rescheduled in New Jersey. I just happened to notice that. But it turned out that this delayed one was a beautiful sunny day. And although it was going to get hot later in the day, I went as soon as it opened up. And there were a lot of cars there. A lot of cars there, and more were pulling in while I was there. And I walked around like 5 or 6 times. I must have been there for over an hour. And it was free. Now the guys who want to show off their cars, they pay an entry fee. But then if they win the best of class or something, then they get some sort of prize money. Plus they were selling bagels for some charity purpose or something. And it was a cool place to hang out. You know, a lot of people walk around checking cars out. A lot of old American chrome muscle cars of the day. I guess the oldest cars from the late 20s all the way up to more modern cars. And, you know, after you go to a lot of car shows and you take some car pictures and you sort of say, well, how can I take creative car pictures? And what I do is I like to dissect the cars, zoom up on details, find weird angles, you know, try and use tricky lighting. You see there's some sun blobs there. This lens did suffer from flare, but only at a certain angle from the sun. Had to be an exact certain angle, then you got some sun flare. And it's super spectra coated, but maybe it's not it was an early service multi-coating. And of course they have better coatings now. But that's not to distract from this lens. It's ultra sharp, and it did have excellent IQ and everything else you would expect from a vintage lens like this. So what I do is I try and focus on parts of a car, weird juxtapositions. You know, when you're at a car show, there's people there, and if you want to take a picture of a car, you might have to hang out in front of a car until the crowd thins out, then you can get a picture. But I figure I would include people in my pictures. You can't have an expectation of privacy at a car show. So, you know, you're a spectator. And as long as you don't focus on the person isn't the center of attention, then it's okay. And usually I try to just get pieces of them, you know, their legs, their hands, their torsos, their butt, something like that. A piece of their head, you know, not their whole head. Now, even though there's some strong flare here, it was an obnoxious flare. And it sort of was artsy-fartsy in a way, you know, creative use of flare. But when there wasn't flare, oh man, this thing was great. I mean, it was just a great lens. I had some great subject matter. It was a great sunny day, and you couldn't ask for anything more. And of course, America is a car culture, and all these cars run on gasoline. I took this picture on purpose to show you the worst flare you could get, and that's pretty much the worst flare you could get. Of course, you know, if you knew where a meteor was going to hit, you could go stand there. And in a way, I went and I stood there to prove that this lens does have flare. But in most, 99% of other situations, it's negligible. And the fact that it takes us great pictures outweighs that in certain situations you're going to get some flare. I mean, if you're aware of it, then you could avoid it too. So it works like that. But anyway, America is a car culture. Everyone drives a car. Cars are cool. But then even cars like this could become retro. They're so cool because they're retro. This is some old Chevy mom and pop car that everyone bought because they were cheap. And now even they're cool as even these upscale hot rods and fancy cars. You know, it's a car. You know, it's a car. So they're cool. Even if it's just a box on wheels, it's still a car. And then, you know, what is a car? All right, some multicolored stripes, maybe a little flaring or a spoiler, and, you know, oh, wow, now it's special, more special than a box on wheels. But then, you know, you could soup it up with the engine and, you know, make it more performance. And think about what the miles per gallon some of these things were getting. And I don't know if this is a real Lincoln Continental. I think it was some sort of modified job. And this is supposed to be a Stutz Bear cap. I don't know if it was this, someone cobbled it up or something, you know. And some of these cars I never seen because I do the car show circuit. And sometimes you see the same cars at a lot of different shows. But sometimes you see original ones like this. And it's always worth it to go to shows. This was a free show. Like I said, you walked in, but some shows, they charge you money. If they're a really, really big show, it may cost you $20 to get in. And that's scary if you want to go with your female friend and a kid or two. But I highly recommend this lens, the Canon FD 17mm f4. You should go out and get one right now.